Hello, everyone. So, I don't know why I said it like that. So, I was actually watching. I need to do some stuff. I have a lot of stuff, actually. And I was like, I'll do some Cindy math. So, Cindy from Awakening the Spirit posted a download that she got a few weeks ago on the spiritual chrysalis. I think she posted it on the spiritual chrysalis, and then that day she uploaded a collective reading on Awakening to Spirit. And she was like, you can't add one and two or one and three or one and five because they're different frequencies. You can only add ones and twos with twos and fives with fives and so on and so forth. Because otherwise it's like comparing apples and oranges, and while they're all fruit, an apple is not an orange. So I wanted to just like get a bunch of cards, do some Cindy math, and then I'll just go for it. I don't know. I don't know what deck I want to use. I want to use the Witch's Tarot. And we'll just see. We'll just see how this works. We'll just see what's up. And then after I add it all up, I might pull around the majors associated with it. Potentially. I just saw the Hierophant and the Devil with the Fool on the other side. And the Ten of Swords is with the Fool. There's an energy of breaking new ground. And community, because the Three of Cups is out. And death. It's an energy. It's like the world is being changed. I was talking to Reem yesterday, and she was talking about a movie with there's like four witches or something, one associated with each of the cardinal directions, northeast, south, and west, and they all have to come together. And it almost feels like that energy of like different sectors or domains or sect, because it's SECT, right? Sects, sort of coming online, networking with each other. It's almost like that Four of Wands that came out in the Tarot Apocalypsis, where it's like you put a tuning fork at four corners of a table and you tune them, and then they vibrate the whole table, and then the table just like disappears. It blips into another dimension. Sort of energy. Six of Wands and the Queen of Swords. Six of Cups with the Queen of Swords. She's nostalgic. Ace of Wands with the Queen of Swords. Okay. And then the Four of Wands with the Ace of Wands. So it feels like there's this look back at our journey, and we can appreciate the space that we're in. We can stand in that space in a place of victory. I'm always so far back and so far off center. We can stand in a place of victory. We can reflect on like the person that we used to be and the people that we used to sort of have in our lives. And then we can almost decide that we want more. And in the seeking of more, there's more that we find. More good stuff, right? Because it's the Four of Wands, so. Three of Pennies, I see you. And a card came out. I don't usually shuffle like this, but I need cards. Ten of Swords is in reverse. Nine of Wands, the shadow side. So any majors that come out here kind of sort of hold their own space, I guess. I don't know how I'm doing this. I don't know how I do most of the things I do on this channel, if I'm being completely honest. I just show up and then hope that everything works out. The Lovers, wait. The Nine of Swords. I thought I already saw. Oh, the Nine of Wands is here. So we already got two nines. I'll do two more rounds and then we'll see. That was quick. The Magician. Oh, that one went on the floor. That one's in reverse. Ooh, the tower. Oh, now the tower's on the floor. Bottom of the deck is the Ace of Pentacles, though. That's cute. Hey Siri, turn on flashlight. Wow, Siri actually wasn't listening. I love it when people. I don't know if it's because of the sheep in me, but when people are like, "Oh, your phone is listening to you," I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I got Hey Siri on it. If my phone wasn't listening, I would have to do everything myself." Hey Mimi.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
You're fine. I think Siri is talking differently. I've talked to Siri enough to notice. Siri's become slightly more articulate, maybe. Oh gosh. There we go. I'm good. Oh. Yeah, I've been good. I was triggered heavy like a few days before the solstice, and then everything kind of sort of settled, and then I don't know. I've been shifting and going with the energies. There are things that are transpiring and happening, and I was talking to Reem yesterday about a dream that I've had, and then I remembered it's a whole thing that I'm like, this is a lot, and I don't know if I feel like getting into this. I'm like, this is a lot, and I don't know if I want to do this. But I've been good. I've been really good lately. Oh, the Nine of Pentacles is here. We got 3 9s. So if a major matches a number, then it also fits. This is 6. This is 15, which is a 6. Here's a 1, a 3, a 10. The 6 of Cups is in reverse again. The 6 of Cups came out in reverse in the Tarot Apocalypse yesterday. This is another 6. Oh, 6 of Cups is in reverse because the devil is with the lovers. So the shadow side and the lovers will give you a 6 of Cups in reverse. That's not too surprising. What is this? The Tower is 16, which is a 7. So the 3 of Pentacles, the Magician, the Hierophant, the 4 of Cups, the Ace goes with the Magician. The 10 of Swords is a 1, but it's its own number, so we'll do 10. Even though, so 15 is going to be its own thing too. Okay. Because both of these are a 6, so that works. This is a 15. These are 1s, 5. So I have 1s. I don't have any 2s, which is interesting. 3s. I have 1 3. Okay. Let me start. Oh. So I have 2 1s. I have no 2s. I have 1 3, 1 4, 1 5, 2 6s, no 7s, no 8s, 3 9s, a 10, and then 15 and 16. If I don't count the majors, 1 1, no 2s, 1 3, 1 4, no 5s, 1 6, no 7s, no 8s, 3 9s, and a 10. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's just go with it. So the 9s that came out, it's the 9 of Wands, the 9 of Pentacles, and the 9 of Swords. This right here, it's an energy that is self-established or it's self-establishing, but it doesn't like it. because the Nine of Swords is the last one here, right? This Nine of Wands isn't a wounded warrior. This Nine of Wands, it's an energy that can continue to do it. This is where that Queen of Swords is sitting. It's like she can continue doing the things that she does and she can be, successful, but there's something missing there. And she no longer wants it to be that way. And then the Tower is up here above. Now, 3 9s is 18, which is a no, 3 9s is 27, which is a 9. Hermit. So I'm going to pull before and after the Hermit. And then we'll see if this branches. No matter how many 9s you put together, you always get back a 9. That's because 9 is the 0 of numerology. Whatever you put into a 9, you'll get it back out. So in that way, 9 would be a catalytic number. Because it elevates something else, but it, I don't know. Anyway. So the Hermit is coming out between the Princess of Pentacles and the Six of Swords. This is an energy. It's like you've done everything that you can where you are from the space that you're in. That's why this Nine of Swords is here. Because, again, this is a very well-established energy. But it's gone as far as it can. 9 is a completion. Amanda! Hey! Now you won't have to watch like 3 hours at once. How are you doing? I saw you earlier today. Oops. A 9 is a completion of one cycle. It can't take you into another one. Now, above this 9 is the Tower. So things are changing. But this Tower feels very illuminating. I don't think this is necessarily a tower where like things fall apart. I think this tower is more internal, where it's like you're starting to realize that you want more. And to do that, there's this limited sort of view of the world that you're going to have to leave behind. And it's funny that the Hermit's Lantern, again, like that's that tower. It's showing you how limited you are right now. And like everything. I mean, like you don't have to watch all of them. There's like 2 to 4 more hours of content every day. So whichever ones you get to, you found me as I resonate for you. I was just thinking about that earlier today for some reason. Like if you go back, there may be some videos, and that's for anybody. There may be some videos back there that'll resonate for you, or there may be videos that don't, right? Because you found me as I am now. Hey, D. Well, I don't know. I'm sure you know what you're doing. Just don't feel any pressure to go back. I still need to watch the 3 parts that you uploaded. I was there for the live. So we're moving forward, and that's this Tower into the 9s branch. And the Tower 16 is a 7. Okay, yeah. I'm glad you enjoy them. Because then at least, that's a treat, right? So next is the 6s. The Lovers is here with the 6 of Cups in reverse. The Lovers with the 6 of Cups in reverse, this is making choices and decisions based on past paradigms. So see the 9s, right? And it's an incomplete view of the past. And that's the thing about trauma and nostalgia. Nostalgia will have us only see the good. While, hold up. Oh, okay. I had a different streaming video. Yeah, it's been some interesting stuff is about to start coming through or coming out or coming down. I'm just like, this is a lot. The thing about trauma or nostalgia is that it's an incomplete view of the past. But it's something like with the Lovers upright, it's like we're keeping these old things alive. Now, two sixes is a 12, which is a 3. And I have a 3 here. So I'm going to go for the Hanged Man on this one. And I feel like the Hanged Man makes more sense here than the Empress. So, welcome to Cindy Math. I was watching a video earlier today. I was thinking about the video that I did earlier today. And I was like, I think the Seven of Swords is going to be my minor. What? How did I already forget? I don't know. It was some card that is like way atypical. But it's for the returning. Oh, Hangman is right here. So the Hanged Man is sitting between the King of Swords and the Star. And it's interesting because throughout all the the shuffles and stuff, the Queen of Swords was the one who was nostalgic. 3 is everywhere for you today. The 30, yeah, the 33, and then the 3. I was actually playing Diablo 3 the other day, and I was cycling through my equipment, and I thought I read Celtic Knot. And then I went back, I was like, none of this says Celtic Knot. Why did I read Celtic Knot? And then I never looked it up. So, but I was like, oh, I bet Amanda would know what that is. 331 today. What? Yeah, my light's been like flickering like crazy ever since Lauren was like, oh, Uriel is electricity and flickering lights and stuff like that. That's why it hasn't been on. Oh, snap, what? Two things about this King of Swords. I've never noticed that the King of Swords is holding a bird. And then there's the bird, the crow, and the tree, and the Hanged Man. Also, something about his stomach seemed extra glowy. This may be an overactive. Oh, snap, D. This may be an overactive solar plexus chakra. And with the star here, I feel like the solar plexus is overactive because we're doing a lot without necessarily being aware of why we're doing it. Eve, everyone's here today. Oh my gosh. Thank you again, Eve. I feel like I'm just gonna say thank you. Like, I love both of them. Yeah, and because I remembered the Triskel and the Triquetra and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, I should look into it, and I didn't. I was listening to, I think, Lauren's Pisces video outside, and then I got an ad for Visit Ireland. I was like, I would love to go to Ireland. I know on my mom's side, we have an ancestor way back, and I think I've talked to y'all about this before, who was like 3/4 Cherokee Indian and a quarter Irish. I was like, what? And I was actually thinking a lot about like, I don't know, I just want to like, I wish I could like know who it was. And I have the name somewhere because my aunt was our family record keeper, and she had everything. And now my grandma has it, and she's like, "Oh, it's in the basement somewhere." I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm trying to find out who this person is." So I will definitely, I will have to. It was. She was like, "Pisces, you did a good job." I was like, "Am I done?" No. She's like, you've done everything that you can on your own. Now you're doing more, so there's more coming in for you. I was like, okay. But this is an overactive solar plexus chakra. The solar plexus in Sahaja Yoga, the question there is like, who is my master? The affirmation there is, I am my own master. Now, with the lovers upright, but the Six of Cups in reverse, and with this being an overactive energy, it feels like it's an energy of proving, like doing more to be seen as more. But it's interesting because this it feels like one of those like the poison is the medicine types of things, because it feels like maybe some of the things that we were doing was a little misguided, but in doing them it actually gets us to see the truth of who we are, right? Let's say that you're doing everything under the sun to prove to other people that you are worthy of occupying space, and it's like, it's not necessarily about proving. You shouldn't have to prove. It doesn't really do anything for your self-esteem when you're always proving. You're dependent and reliant upon praise and validation. But it's like, while you're doing all that, if you take a step back to look at everything you've done, I feel like you would find appreciation in that. I feel like that would be all the validation that you need for yourself, cuz like maybe your intention wasn't necessarily, it's not, it feels like the intention behind it and the healed result are kind of like the healing wasn't necessarily your intention, but now you have everything that you need to make it happen, if that makes any sense. Because now you can look at all of these things and you can be like, oh wow, well I did this and I did that. And all of this sits on top of this shadow side energy, this devil energy. And it's interesting because this almost holds a different um, thing to the one that I just did. So yeah, it's like it was coming from a place of insecurity. Hello? It was coming from a place maybe of insecurity or something like that. But it's like, in everything that you did while you were out there, and everything that you did while you were afraid, and everything that you did while you were like proving, and everything that you were doing, it's like if you could take a step back and look at it, I feel like you'd appreciate yourself a lot more. I feel like there would be things that you would notice. And even if this isn't within you, if this is outside of you, but this energy is coming up a lot lately. First, it was all about this, divine feminine and divine masculine, or like rising or coming back or doing whatever, is coming into their authenticity, revealing all of the more that they actually are to us. But now it's this energy. I don't know if I just heard a crow, or if that was a child. I'm sorry. But now there's this energy of like questioning what reality our identities allow us. There's an energy of, where'd it go? Oh, yeah. There's an energy of like learning to use the mind in a way that really serves us. That like labels as a restrictive tool can be detrimental, but labels as a discerning tool can be instrumental to further development and to further discernment. And then lately, it's this energy that's like, whatever you feel like you've been lacking, you've always had, but it's been outside of your viewing angle. It's like it's been in the picture, but off to the sides. And like, it's like now you're going to start seeing sort of what's always been there. And when you start seeing what's always been there, it opens you up, it reduces resistance. So now it opens you up to receive more of that in your reality where you are, in a way. that makes any sense. Like, I feel like an example is coming to my mind, but I don't want to say it. Yeah, I like it too. Eve. It would be cool if we could all just like meet up though, high key, honestly. But it is kind of cool that we get to connect with people all over the world now. So, and there's something with this shadow side energy. This shadow side energy doesn't feel like bad in nature. It does feel like it's coming in an area where we have not great experiences. And it's like we fear the past experience more than we fear anything in the present. And I feel like Amanda, you talked about that earlier. When it's like, like the trauma and stuff you've already lived through. And so when these energies come, now it's like you're able to differentiate the energy from the experience to the point where you can choose in the moment whether or not you engage with that. But there's something about like going beyond it. And this came up a little bit in some way in the Scorpio reading earlier. But it's like now it's time to walk around the shadow and to just exit. I don't know. The meet and greet in 2022, probably not where I am because I'm trying to travel. If there's a meet and greet anywhere, like I want to travel to it. So if anyone wants to host and can't travel, then it'll be there because I gotta go somewhere. I don't know. We'll see. I don't even know where Patrick is going to be in 2022. Patrick might be in the UK in 2022, and then I can just go see Amanda. Get on the train or something. So next is the Four of Cups in reverse with the Three of Pentacles upright under it. This the Four of Cups is usually a missed opportunity. If it's summer, not Texas. Definitely not Texas. Have passport, will travel. With the Four of Cups in reverse, it feels like the energy of a missed opportunity, but it's an opportunity that we haven't missed. But when this opportunity comes back around, it feels like it's going to be triggering. It feels like if this opportunity comes back around, we might initially project ourselves back to who we were and how we were when it first came around. But in that, it's like it's to realize that that's not who we are anymore. And sometimes, and it's a little bit of that carrot on the stick. What? Or like they don't have like a tunnel or something? You can go from like what the UK down to like the rest of Europe, but you can't get to Ireland. I'll have to take a plane then or something. I'll drive and then I'll swim and then I'll ask for you to pick me up and bring some towels because I might be wet. I'm just playing. Happiness is Texas in your rearview mirror. That's funny. It's like you're not who you were when this first came around. You're not who you were when this first came about. And with so this is separate, right? So now I have to go find the Emperor. Because I can't add the 3 to this 4. So I gotta look at what's around the Emperor first. Where is the Emperor? Hello? Do I have? What? How did this happen? Wait. So the Emperor came out with the Ace of Cups and a face down card that I'm trying not to look at because I didn't notice that there was a face down card in the deck. So the Emperor is coming out with some mysteries. Oh, I said that the opportunity would be coming back, right? Here's the Ace of Cups. The opportunity has come back. In a lot of decks, it's like the cloud is giving you an ace. Like the cloud is giving you the cup and both the ace and the four, but we don't take it. It's coming back. And now you're an emperor. Now there are certain things in life that you've learned to take. It's not necessarily about taking control, but it's about being less of a victim to external circumstances. It's about how you can handle and process things better now. You're more now than you were when it first came around. And sometimes, almost like that carrot on the stick, we get exposed to something to encourage a sort of growth and movement in us before we may be ready for it. But because we see it, it's almost like it sets a trajectory for us. Even if it's not necessarily the destination, it gets us moving in a certain direction. Also, with this Ace of Cups, it feels like we're going to be more vulnerable or more ready to receive all of this. A lot more, a lot more ready than we were the first time. So the mystery card is the Eight of Pentacles because you've done the work. I guess that's what the card says. And honestly, in this deck, it feels like these pentacles were already made. But now, oh, look, there's another bird. I've never noticed that bird on the back of the chair. Quote the Raven, nevermore. Nevermore. Right? Who's that? Edgar Allan Poe? Oh, look, then you see the skull there? Yeah, this is Edgar Allan Poe energy. That nevermore. I don't remember about Nevermore. Was that the one with the person who was buried under the floorboards? Okay, let's not go there. Well, yeah, you're good. You're good. And you're getting in the closet and you're cleaning out your skeletons. Yeah, let's go there. And as you're going through these skeletons in your closet, again, it's to have an energy of compassion for yourself. It's not to guilt, shame, blame, be like, oh, I was so dumb, I was so stupid to think this or to not take that. I could have been here. It's like it's not about any of that. That's not what this is about at all. And if you ask me what it's about, I'm gonna say you'll find out when you do it. Just know that it's not about that. Because when we look at ourselves through the lens of love, again, it's this energy where it's like when we come more outside of those spaces, it's like we can look back and there are things that we can actually appreciate about ourselves as we navigated through those spaces. Or there were so many things within ourselves that maybe we weren't seeing. So, yeah, there's definitely an energy here that it's almost like cleaning up the past. To make ourselves available for something new. And I'm glad I looked at this before I went right down to the three because these settings look very similar. But now with the Three of Pentacles, there's like the sun has come up, right? The glasses have been stained. We've recolored our pasts. And we're moving forward. This is Empress energy. I don't think I saw the Empress, but there were only like two cards at the bottom. Yeah, so I had to pass it somewhere. Hopefully, she didn't fall off the table. Oh, here she is. Oh, snap. Okay. So the Empress is coming out between the Ten of Cups and the Four of Pentacles. I wanted to say the Four of Wands for some reason. Nevermore was about loss always being a part of life. Oh. Yeah, the one about that was another one. That was a different Edgar Allan Poe. I feel like that's so like I feel like that's so this. I feel like that's a lot more relevant. Loss being a part of life. The lens of love was wonderful, but it took you a lifetime to know what love felt like. Now you know you're never going back. Same. And like honestly, self love last year was one of the most difficult lessons that I learned. And it's not that like learning to love myself was difficult, but it was like learning to balance the love that I have for myself with the love that I have for other people being difficult. Knowing when to like take a step back and take care of myself and not always be so quick to try to be more and do more for other people was difficult. Like having myself be a part of the equation when I'm factoring in everything from everyone else was difficult. Like finding things that I love and admire and appreciate about myself. Well, it happened in waves, so but that seemed to be less difficult for me than like managing love for self and love for others, being a person who can be compassionate and caring sometimes. Okay. This is a lower chakra energy. This is root, sacral, solar plexus, and heart, but mostly root, sacral, solar plexus. It feels like since he's hunched down so low on this stoop, like his upper chakras aren't sort of like available. So when the Ten of Cups is coming in, these areas where it's been sort of like dammed and blocked the longest, that's where it's gonna really that's where we're gonna feel the flow the most. Because it's almost like the upper three, even if like we haven't spoken exactly or seen exactly or received exactly, it feels like there's a lot less resistance in the upper three than the lower three. And that's where we're gonna feel things move the most. And those are the three that we create from. So it kind of makes sense that it comes out with the Empress, right? Now, this Ten of Swords in reverse, it feels like Spirit is watching us in this tree with the owl, and it's assisting us in undoing some of what has been done. It's like it's going to be pulling some of those swords out, or it's guiding us and instructing us on how to do it ourselves. And there may be people who come into our lives who help us sort of do that, just because people are situations, because they come in with a narrative that is different than the one that we've been constantly experiencing. And now there's a second 10 here. The Wheel of Fortune came out between the Ten of Wands and the Chariot, which is exactly this energy. What we've been overburdened with, it's like all of that resistance is going to be dropping, and we're going to be finding it a lot easier to move forward on a path that aligns more to all that is happiness, all that is abundance, all that is a life of ease and flow. And it's not that life won't have challenges, but it's not going to be as difficult when we encounter them because we're going to be more. And this is giving me the energy again of like the 10 of cups energy coming into areas where there was a 4 of pentacles reservedness for so long. And that's another thing. It feels like for quite a time now, we've been put in a position to do a lot of things on our own. Not that spirit hasn't been there to support us or to encourage us or to send us encouragement and support when we need it, but it's definitely been a time of like doing ourselves. And as we wrap up or as we transition into more, it feels like now spirit is going to be in a position where it can come back in and it can assist us with the doing, because we no longer expect for spirit to do it all. Now we're working in conjunction with spirit. Now we can show up as this 3 of pentacles energy with spirit rather than this 4 of pentacles energy, I guess, and expecting spirit to just give to us without us having to move or budge or do anything ourselves. We're opening up the flow. And then that leads us to the magician with the Ace of Swords. And this it feels like an increase in knowing. Also, I'm seeing like little like fairies and stuff in the magician card. So there's something about working with the natural world or working with the principles of the natural world in a way, because I was talking to Reem last night, or because we talked a little bit about some of the stuff that she talked that she discussed on our channel with Rob yesterday, to sort of see like what I think and where I stand a little bit and to open up that conversation, right? And I remember she said that it's like, the universe knows our intentions and we can never hide our intentions from the universe. We can never hide our intentions from spirit or from God. We can sort of fool others and we can fool ourselves, but our intentions are pure. Pure in the sense that they cannot be mistaken for anything else. And so it was like, we sometimes try to use like certain, like the law of attraction or manifestation, to almost bypass certain things, like to find that little spiritual back door, right? Where we can, oh, like I can take this back door and get everything I want without doing any of the work. What? It's like, no, it doesn't work like that. Because the universe still sees your intentions. You can't hide that. But it's like in that, or because that has been our approach for so long, there are ways in which there are ways in which we are naturally provided for that we would see if our intention wasn't to be provided for. If that makes any sense. It's like we miss all of the magic when we're trying to get the Lamborghini and the BMW and the house and the person. But this, like, and that's so like the fairies coming in as this energy of like the fundamental laws. It's like there are ways in which the natural universe is constantly communicating that it is providing for us, in which it's constantly present. But it's like we're so focused on other things or like bigger things that we don't see what's there. And it feels like we're going to be seeing. It also feels that like when we come into a space that is less self-serving, which was another thing that came up in my conversation with Reem yesterday. When we come from a space of being less self-serving, then it's like the wand that the magician is holding as a conductor's baton. And now the magician is like instructing the natural spirits on sort of like, it's like it's giving them an order, not like a command, like it's placing an order. And it's like, I need this much of this much of that much of whatever. And these natural spirits just sort of like bring the magician what he wants. So it's like it is conducting, but it's not. And that knowing with the Ace of Swords is coming back to us. Now, what I love about this deck is that this Ace of Swords does not have a crown. Because usually I look at how far the crown is from the hilt, because we hold the sword by the handle. We're not grabbing the sword up here. So if the crown is all the way up there, we're probably going to cut ourselves, right? But there's no crown here. And the reason why I love that there's no crown here is because, again, it feels like all of the resistances are in like the lower three chakras and the heart. It feels like the crown, the third eye, the throat, they may not be perfect, but the majority of the blockages, the bottlenecks, it's in the root, it's in the sacral, the solar plexus, and then the heart. It's there in the heart, but it feels like it might accumulate in the heart, but the source might be really like more so in the root of the realm of the root, or the sacral, or the solar plexus. And again, if we're talking about sort of our intentions and if we're getting into spirituality to really like connect to spirit and to grow and heal and develop, or if we're getting into it for like, to manifest stuff. Not that one is necessarily better or worse than the other, because we're human and we have needs, right? It's not bad to want or desire. I don't believe it's not within my belief system that it's bad to want or to desire or to even need. Like, we're given desires for a reason. It gives us something to do, more or less, while we're down here, right? Now we have a reason, and it's like you can enjoy more of life when you seek that enjoyment. It's like if you didn't have any taste buds, then you wouldn't be able to enjoy food. So there would be all of this delicious food that you wouldn't even be capable of enjoying. There are some things that are meant to be enjoyed, I believe. But it's not to be so consumed in the seeking and the acquisition that we don't taste. We just keep eating. Oof, call me out. I'm just playing. So now I'm going to look at the High Priestess, and she's pretty close. Universal laws are at play too, exactly. High Priestess is like the first major. Ooh, see, when I was talking about what came out after that Queen of Swords, it was the Ace of Wands and the Four of Wands at the cut. High Priestess is coming out between the Four of Wands and the Ace of Wands. This is that, like, the universe knows, God knows, Spirit knows what you desire more than you do. You know what you think you want, and you know what you think you don't want. You know what you like, you know what you think you wouldn't like. But Spirit knows. And it's like that's what it's guiding us to. So if it's guiding us, again, if it's guiding us to these areas where we may have faced like rejection or pain or difficulty in the past. Oh, it's both of these. Where's the Six of Cups? Six of Cups in reverse. Well, I'm not going to pick up the Six of Cups, because this is when we first had the opportunity. When it's guiding us back to these things, it's not guiding us back to these things in order to trigger us. It's like not like it's not like you bump into somebody at the store and then you think of how much of a failure you are because how much of a success they are or whatever. It's not comparative, right? But a lot of times for us as people, it is, because we're sort of at war with ourselves, and a lot of self-worth is comparative worth. And that's one of the things that, from a certain perspective, I don't think it serves us as much when we're like, oh, well, at least I have this. Other people don't even have this. And yes, it helps us to be grateful and to be in a space of gratitude for what we have. But we don't have to insert that comparison to other people. We can be grateful that we have the things that we have because we're grateful that we have the things that we have. It's true that some others don't have what we have, but them not having it or having it shouldn't influence how grateful we are to have it. if that makes any sense. You've done that before. Well, it took me like what 9.5 to 10 years to get my degree. So I saw a lot of people graduate who, came long after me and left long before me. So not that I've necessarily compared, but I was just like, wow, like I'm still here. I was an RA and like most of my residents graduated before I graduated. But I came out in December, so we all came out in 2020. Anyway, it's like that's not the reason, that's not the purpose behind this. It's like there's more that's there. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's like that's where we're being navigated. That's why we're revisiting. And then the High Priest is out, the Hierophant. And lone majors don't get clarifiers, or they don't get any Cindy math. Yeah. Now, I mean, like, should we not be wasteful of things? Probably. Like, there's a lot more good in that. I'm just saying that it seems that, like, even when we come into spaces of increasing our self worth, it still holds like comparative. Like, oh, well, I have something that they don't have, so I should be, but they don't have, then I do. Well, then what happens when they get more than you? Or what happens when they get an increase and you think it's something that you should have gotten because you've spent more time, because you've done more, because you deserve it more? Now your self-worth is being called into question because again, it's all comparative. And we're not it's not comparative worth, it's self-worth. Come on. I'm running out of water. So the last card on the table is the Hierophant. And the bottom of the deck is the Ace of Pentacles. This Hierophant feels divine. This doesn't feel like an earth Hierophant. This Hierophant is almost coming out like, now that you know, now that you've experienced, now that you have the keys, like, what are you going to do? Which doors are you going to unlock? What are you going to welcome into your reality? What is going to be your experience? Because the Ace of Pentacles is here at the bottom of the deck, and the Magician came out with this Ace of Swords, right? And the thing as humans is that, like, we can know. And this, I was going to say something when you were talking about it earlier, Amanda, because I think, like, so last year, the word for 2020 for me was integrate. Because in 2019, I did a lot of growth and a lot of healing in a relatively short amount of time. And I got to do it all in isolation. And then I got to take it out into the real world. And when I took it out into the real world and I was talking to my journey buddy, like I would talk to her about some stuff and she'd be like, Patrick, you already know this. Like, you already know what to do. You already know what's going on. You already know what's happening. And I'd be like, yeah, I do. I'm like, I can't believe I forgot. Like, how did I forget? I already know this. And so that's why, like, I wanted to, at least with my word of the year, be a little bit more intentional about practicing my knowing so that it would become second nature and then it would eventually become my primary nature, or so that I wouldn't forget, to make it easier to remember in the moment. Grounding that knowing, living the knowing, remembering the knowing, instead of being in the middle of something confused and lost and then like remembering afterward. And it did. It took some time. But now it's like I'm so surprised when I notice my primary reaction being different than what my first reaction would have been in the past in some instances. I'm like, wow, like I've really grown. Wait. I'm not as selfish anymore. I am still a little bit upset about. Actually, I'm not. I'm not upset about the candle. I got over it. Wow. The Taurus in me used to be able to hold on to stuff for a while. I'm actually over it. I'm kind of surprised. I don't know how I feel about being over it. I'm glad that I'm over it, but I'm like, this is weird. Like, not being the person who's like, you remember when we went to Michigan 5 years ago and I wanted to go to the blacksmith, but you got the candle? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it is. And I think it's such an interesting. And like another thing about being human is that like there's a dualistic nature in almost everything. And so it's interesting that we can look back and see how far we've come. But it's also interesting that sometimes we look back and we see how far we've come, but then we guilt and shame and blame ourselves for what we did while we were there. Or we call ourselves dumb or we call ourselves stupid. And it's like you don't like have to do all that. And I think I've also been noticing that there are a lot of do it feels like there's a lot of falsely, what's the word, like there are a lot of things that are linked cognitively that don't necessarily have to be. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like if every time you've seen an apple you've always seen an orange, so now whenever you go and you see an apple you expect an orange, whenever you see an orange you expect an apple. But it's like those things aren't necessarily inextricably linked. You can see an apple, you can see a whole bucket of apples, a whole bushel of apples, without seeing a single orange. Yeah, it's that association, but I feel like it goes stronger than association and word because we form them so tightly that we almost see them as inseparable. And it's like, I don't think that necessarily has to be the case. Like, the easiest one that comes to mind, it's like in knowing, right? I feel like just because we say that we know something, and Amanda, like you talked about this earlier too, I was like glad to see that. Just because you say that you know something doesn't mean that you believe that you know all. It doesn't believe that first that you believe that you know everything. It also doesn't believe that it also doesn't mean that you believe that you know everything about that specific thing. And I think sometimes we can stand in a space of knowing while simultaneously standing in a space of being able to be taught, right? We can be student and teacher, mentor and mentee at the same time in the same space. And like teachers say that. Teachers say, I learn just as much from my students as they do from me. Some teachers. You can be a teacher in a space and still be educated. It's like you don't have to be sort of like one or the other. And I think if we can accept that on broader levels, and if we can untangle that it's not even a duality, but we almost make it to be. If we can untangle that entanglement, then it actually frees us up to move a lot more. It allows us to exist more fully in a space without simultaneously like having us take ourselves out of that space. And I think some of that is encoded with how we view ego and spiritual ego and, physical ego, which is why I love just like coming up with different words. Because if we give it a different name, a different frequency, a different vibration, now we can attach other things to it, right? A rose by any other name is just as sweet. It doesn't matter what you call a rose, it's not going to change the color, the smell, or the form of that rose. But if you call a rose, like, what's something that people don't like? I don't know. If you call a rose, like, if you say that the rose stinks, it doesn't make it smell any less sweet. That's easy. Yeah. You can call the rose stinky all day long, but it's still going to smell just as sweet as it smelled. But mentally, it's like if we hear stink, then we smell stink. It's like psychosomatic. A lot of things can be psychosomatic. I got lost. I forgot where I was going with that last one. I feel like in trying to explain it, I lost it. And I think it is part of that Gemini Sag, the nodal axis right now. And I think also, like, being someone who, like, I've been told since I was little how smart I am, right? And I feel like I never hold that really, unless I feel like my intelligence is like being questioned or challenged or something like that, right? But then it's like sometimes I feel like I have to catch myself. I feel like I'm not doing a good job of explaining it, but I probably am. It's like in the moment, like if I'm being like 100% honest, I probably should have like left the comment first. But like I remember when Amanda, like when you uploaded a video and some of the stuff you were talking about, I got a little triggered. I was like, what? Like me? Patrick? But I kept sitting and I kept listening and I was like, okay. And I was open to it. And I was like, a lot of this is true. And although I think I know my intention, well, I think my intention, so it was about, like, I would recommend, first of all, Anam Cara Messages, going to watch it for yourself. But it was like when we care about people and when we want the best for them, and when we kind of sort of step into the space of thinking that we know what's better for them than what they are doing for themselves, or whenever we do that. And Amanda was saying that it's like, that you can be coming from a place of love, but when you are in the space of interacting with that person, what space are you standing in, right? And it's like you're coming from a place of love, but where are you standing? Are you standing in fear? Are you standing in lack? Are you standing in whatever? And like what you're saying, like the reason behind why you do it is because you care about somebody and because you want more. But it's like, are you now projecting your fear onto them? Are you now projecting your anxieties and insecurities onto them when they, like, and it could be someone in a position where it's like they don't even have the same fears, worries, anxieties, insecurities, doubts. But now that it's like you put it into them, now it's like they're holding on to it and it's not even theirs. And I think a lot of times for myself lately, I don't know if I feel like it's this energy of like making me aware of my own intentions, if that makes any sense. Because I feel like I know me and I know my intentions and I know why I do what I do on a deep level. But I think sometimes, like on a more conscious level, I might not necessarily get it, or it's like it's not on the forefront of my mind, right? And so, first of all, it's just good to have the reminder in general. Whenever you come to someone, especially if you're coming to someone that you love, then you don't want to project that fear and that anxiety and all of those like heavy emotions and negative, like, emotions, and that can hold, like, be really dense and sort of frequency, and that can kind of sort of drag things down or slow things down, dampen, right? Like, when you're aware of it, right? If you really care about, I don't want to say if you really care about people, because more often than not, if it's someone that you love, you don't want them to necessarily be freaking out, right? And I don't know, I guess for me, it's been like my intentions have been something that I guess I've been needing to remind myself of, or I've been needing to remember. Like, I got um a reading, because it'll be like, and I've talked about it before, like, I don't necessarily see myself as extremely decisive or whatever. And I can kind of flow a lot. And because I'm flowing from that place of my intention, or because I'm flowing from an internal sort of seat of self, when I'm like all the way out here, I may not necessarily be surface level consciously thinking of what my intention was back here. And it's not that there was any deviation. It's just like, oh, like, this is my intention. This is why I do why I do. This is why I started. And this is why I'm still doing, like, relatively the same thing. Right. And so it's just been good for me to sort of like know. Anyway, you have in your heart for everything and people, but on the surface, it may not be as notable. And I think that too, it's like, that's why I think that's how, like, we can say sometimes that, like, all of the chakras are connected, right? And you can have a blockage in one place that restricts flow. And maybe this goes back to me too. You can have a blockage somewhere that restricts flow. So it's like your intention isn't necessarily being communicated. Like, for example, if you're someone who has been, oh, I'm not trying to trigger people. If you're someone who's been dismissed a lot, then you may have, like, authentic feelings or opinions on something, but you don't express them because of the being dismissed. And so at your core, you may be one way, but it may not be sort of projected in a way or communicated in a way that is true, because all of the many, many, many filters that things pass through as they make their way from our core to the outside. So, yeah. Hmm. So the Empress is the card that came out. Oh, with the bottom of the deck being the Nine of Pentacles. We got Empress energy out. What's this? This is minor Empress for me. And I think these two, to me, it's basically what you were just saying, Mimi. It's like we're already in this Empress energy. Or this Empress energy is presenting itself to us for us to step into. But it's like we think we're still here. Oh, here it is. Okay. Because I was like, there's a 9, an 8, and a 6. The 7 is missing. 9 of Pentacles, 8 of Cups, 6 of Pentacles, and then the Tower. So the Tower is the 7 that should be here. Should be. This Tower being out of place, this is a delayed reaction. This is that energy, like, where we're in the space of doing something. It's like we can do it subconsciously and we can do it unconsciously, but consciously we can't, because the conscious mind is where a lot of those blockages and limitations manifest, even if they're rooted in this. Well, there can be subconscious and unconscious sort of limitations and blockages. So let me not sit here and say that necessarily. But it feels like when we're not thinking about it, we can do it effortlessly. But when we observe ourselves or when we feel put on the spot, then that's when all of the challenge sort of comes out, right? It's like people who, like, let's say that you can't talk to girls. Like if you're it's like a movie, right? And there's the awkward teen boy and his best friend who's a girl, and he's like, I can't talk to girls, and she's like, but I'm a girl, and he's like, yeah, but you're different. And it's like, yeah, but she's not. She's a girl that you're talking to, so you can talk to girls. Like you're doing it right now, right? Well, you know what I mean. It's almost that energy. And I guess a little bit of that, it comes through with the magician and the ace of swords. Like universal laws and principles are always what they are, regardless of whether we know them or not. And so we're always sort of utilizing them and we're always abiding by them. But when we come into the knowing, then it's like we get to sort of do it differently. And so in that way, it's almost that we're never unaligned. We're always aligned to something. It may not be what we want, but we are aligned to something. Now, can we be unaligned in regards to what we want to align to? Yeah. But this energy here, it's like you're already doing it. And this tower, like all of this is the effortless doing, right? We are we're forming and establishing healthier boundaries. We're opening up to give that give and take, right? We are putting more distance between us and that which doesn't emotionally serve us. We are coming more into our authenticity. We are using our voice. We are seeing and loving every curve that we have. But this tower comes in, it's like, oh crap. I don't know. It's just that it's that Looney Tunes thing when the character walks off the edge of the cliff and it's not until they look down that they fall. That's what this is. I don't know how else to put it, but and it's interesting because I feel like with divine feminine energy, there's a lot of sort of clarity and like she's clearing her name in a lot of spaces energy. But it also feels that like I guess because we all hold divine feminine energy within ourselves, I feel like we're also coming into a space where we're seeing ourselves more truly for who we are rather than the person that we've had to be or the person that we have been in those times because of what the environment was sort of pushing from us or demanding from us, right? I don't know. We're being open and exposed more to the truth of the self, and the truth of the self lies behind a lot of vulnerability and authenticity. Authenticity typically hides behind vulnerability, right? Because again, we're taking down those layers and those filters that distort and, you know, contort that authentic expression. So that's what I got. Thank you all for being here. I am going to, oh snap, oh wait, no, I still got an hour. I'm gonna get busy on some stuff. I feel like I still got videos to watch. Rune Breaker 3, what? 58 minutes ago? I got a video to watch. Apparently, we got some new runes. I'm so interested to see if one of the runes, Russ uploaded Rune Breaker 3, if one of the runes is gonna talk to me in a way that is that like, because earlier, last night, before I went to bed, when I did that reading, it was this energy of like, it was in Scorpio. It was when I was reading Scorpio. I was using the Norse cards. And there was this energy that was like, there's something that we don't see because our brain is conditioned to not see it. It's like how our brain just automatically sort of filters out the noise, right? And so it's like, I don't know if, you know, anyway. And it's the third one. There's another three, right? So anyway, I'm curious to see if an energy that like that comes out. So I will catch you all later. No problem. It is my pleasure. I am appreciating so much the people that I'm connecting to in ways that I'm not even in a position to fully know how much. Like, I feel like I don't even comprehend fully on a conscious level how much I appreciate the people who've come into my life lately, and like opening up to be able to connect more authentically and from spaces of vulnerability and to get closer because of it. So thank you all. I'm gonna go watch this video, and I hope y'all have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. If you don't know Runeraker 3 rustling around, I'm about to go watch it because I love the rune. And I'll catch you later. Bye.